Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and coffee stream number 93 and our first edition of Wednesdays with Skep. So how are you doing today, Skep?
I'm fine. Is this not coffee stream number 92 or 93?
92, sorry.
It says 92. Okay.
I'm wrong.
I didn't know what.
You
No, I thought I had maybe punched up the wrong one, and so I would be seeing a chat replay and would be
correct.
out of sync with. Okay.
It's 92.
So I've done stuff like that with Monkey's channel.
Just like the 100th coffee stream isn't on the 5th of February, it's on the 4th.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's a Monday, not a Tuesday.
There you go.
Because apparently I can't calendar.
Yeah. Well, they're, calendars are hard. Calendars are hard.
Let's say hi to chat. So,
I was just going to say, I was going to chat.
Yeah. And Chadwick and Gunfox and RVA and
those are the only ones who've poked their heads up so far that I see. There's Chadwick.
Speaking of rolls and rolls of duct tape, to those of you who just joined the Discord yesterday, I have reinstalled it on the computer and I have assigned roles to you all. So you may now post in the Discord.
Okay, there's Will and there's Duck Dog and Scotland.
Yes, Duck Dog, you are one of the people I am talking to. You may now post in the Discord. Hi, Will Honorless. Hello.
Hey, Ben.
Oh, and Ben. Hi. And Scotsman.
Getting a little bit of a group here. Nobody has hit the like button. I'll hit it. There you go. One like anyway. And
so this morning, I had a snow adventure.
Tell us about your snow adventure.
And it's even sillier because the school, Alex's school, is literally across the street from our house. Like, we couldn't have gotten luckier that way.
Yeah.
But it snowed so much overnight, and it's not that light powdery stuff that you see in movies. It's that heavy, freaking, just cakey, crunchy.
Think 5 pounds per cubic foot.
Yeah. Thank you, Pincalo. It's your perfect snowman snow, basically.
Yep.
And I went to take Alex to school, and thankfully, because first of all, snow travel when you're blind is very difficult. Snow travel when you're blind and walking a 4-year-old by the hand that's going, look, snow, and turning all around and, jumping up and down and doing what 4-year-olds do is next to impossible. So basically, I by some luckiness, there were a couple of really nice parents. There was a mom that helped me navigate the snowbanks to Alex's drop-off point. Otherwise, I would have just been trudging through the snowbank, dragging a 4-year-old with me. And
people are nice in Canada. They'll help you in Canada.
Yes, they will. And then there was a mom who was dropping her kids off at a different door, who saw me stray off the shoveled path into another snowbank, and she was very nice enough to walk with me all the way back to my driveway.
Excellent.
Because she was like, oh, well, the school's right here and your house is right there. I'll just walk with you.
That is, it's just decent.
Yep.
It's decent folks. And I'll bet, they don't ask for, you
They don't
need
ask for
credit
anything.
or thanks or
They're
anything.
just like, I just don't want you to get lost in the snow.
That's right. It's just nothing more than their good nature.
Yep. And she's like, I see you walking all the time. Like, I know you're capable of it, but it's just, she's like, I can't imagine having to travel through this crap when you can't see where you're going. And I'm like, oh, it sucks. It's like when it was days like this when I was going to school, and because the schools were still open, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of snow to close a school here.
Hey, I showed Brenda, my wife,
Yeah.
the street that you were crossing when you got hit by the car.
Oh, okay.
And I said, she crosses that street and she's blind. Brenda doesn't cuss much. She said, are you fucking kidding me? She just stared at that street. That street
6
corner.
lanes of traffic. It's
6 lanes of traffic. Do it blindfolded. Don't do it blindfolded. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's a tough row to hoe that you have. I have a lot of respect for that. I really do. And I think it's wonderful that you found somebody to, help you out this morning. But it doesn't surprise me. Canada is like that. My time in Kelowna and in Victoria, people just were kind to me. They were nice to me. And I confided that I was up there. I didn't know anybody the first night I was up there, and the guy says, "Well, come on over to my home for dinner."
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself over at the guy's house for dinner. We ended up being really good friends. Still pass an email back and forth once in a while. And I'd love to get back up there again and see a couple of those folks. There's still a lot up there. They love Kelowna, man. They love living up there.
Before most of the old neighbors moved out of my grandmother's neighborhood, it was just, they would just drop by my grandma's place, and my grandma would just be like, "Hey, you want to come have some tea?
Yeah.
You want to have coffee? Are you hungry?" Like this just. She does that with my mother, and it's my dad's ex-girlfriend. She's like, if my mother is happening to have had Alex or something, and she meets us at my grandma's house for Sunday dinner to drop him off.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma's like, you want to?
Yep.
You've got an extra plate. Do you want to stay for dinner? Everyone else is like, no, please don't do that.
Oh, it's funny. Families. There's nothing like the family dynamic.
Scotsman says the schools here shut when we get half an inch of snow. Yeah, well, you're in Scotland, so snow exists, but it's not like.
So you don't get much snow in Scotland? That surprises me. I mean, given their latitude, I mean, Scotland is the same latitude as Norway and Sweden and Denmark. Those are places that get a lot of snow. I'm surprised that Scotland doesn't get much snow. I don't know much about that. But when I've been to England, I've only been in the southern part of England and, of course, the western part over in Wales. But I've always wanted to go up to Scotland, but I never got up there. I've seen it from the air. Sure looks pretty.
Chadwick says it's a blizzard in Michigan and the schools are open. It's
Oh yeah, yeah. 2 feet of snow today. The buses will be 15 minutes late.
See, and here's the interesting difference between the U.S. mindset and the Canadian mindset. Because Will Honorless says if somebody invites me into their house like that, I'd be suspicious as hell. But here, it's more like it's not as normal as it used to be.
Yeah.
Because even here, we are getting more and more cynical and more I don't know how to put the word, like I don't know how to phrase it really. It's not distrusting, but it's like, well, that person that's been once bitten, twice shy. They've been taken advantage of a little bit too often.
Uh-huh.
So they're not done helping people, but they're not gonna just jump out and do it readily.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see Canada right now, because it used to
Really?
be
That's a shame.
it used to be, you know, the how my grandma is, that used to be normal. Like
Yeah.
in
I suspect in the rural areas are still.
Yeah,
I'm just guessing.
yeah, I would think that in the rural areas it's still more like that.
Yeah.
But it used to be like in neighborhoods in cities, it used to be like, you know, if you knew your neighbors well, it was, you know, just hey, you know, hey, you're dropping by to drop off something. You want to come in for a cup of tea? You
Yeah.
know, like it was, and I'm sure it used to be like that in some places in the States too. I can imagine, you
Very
know.
much so. Very much so.
But it's just very.
We're just about 50 years ahead of you on that, I think.
Yeah, people are starting to get kind of distrustful, and especially with, you know, the changes that are happening around just culturally and everything. It's just
Well, I'll
people
tell you.
lock their doors now.
Yes,
People.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to get to was, you know, people feel insecure, and that tends to put up the barriers, I think.
Yeah.
Just agreeing with what you said. When I was a kid, my dad is the most extrovert. You think I'm an extrovert? Oh my God. My dad, who is a math genius, you know how a lot of math geniuses are very introverted and they don't talk much. My dad's the opposite of that. He's kind of, you know, completely, you know, anomalous. And when we lived over in Belgium, we would go on driving trips through France. And of course, mom majored in French, and dad is completely bilingual. He has a real talent for learning languages.
Yeah.
And so they were very confident, and all the kids, we all spoke French pretty well. And so we'd drive through France, and my dad would, in the afternoon, he'd go up to these places, especially the vintners, because dad, it turned out, we liked wine. And on several occasions, he would make friends with the family, and they would invite us to stay with them overnight. And we would stay and eat for free at a vineyard. He used to do this in Bordeaux all the time. I mean, he would try this all the time.
I don't think
And,
that would happen anymore.
Oh, that would never happen. That would never happen in 10 million years right now. But and he stayed in touch with these people. He took their names and he wrote letters. You know, they were, you know, he had a very rich social tapestry, I guess you would say. And he had friends all over France as a result of that. And that's just dad's personality. But man, we ate a lot of rich food growing up in Belgium.
I don't doubt it.
And the other thing was he started us drinking wine when I was 9 years old. And he even had the diluted wine for my two sisters. I got to drink the full boat stuff. I just got one little tiny glass, like a shot glass of it. But it was to develop my palate. And my dad would, and he taught me I started to like cheese. I got to like the sharp tasting cheeses. And then he introduced me to Camembert and the really runny cheeses of France. And as a result, Brie and even the runnier ones. I
don't care how excrementally runny it is.
I knew we would go there. Contaminated by cheese. So, but anyway, yeah, that was part of what Dad considered a good upbringing for us, was a good gustatory and iniary grounding in cheese and wine. But anyway, a couple of things. I don't know if you have anything burning. I've got a couple of interesting things. One quick thing, and then probably one longer thing that I just want to introduce and see if there's interest in talking about it. Are you up for that? Or
I wanted to ask you really quick what you thought about the Covington thing.
Okay, that's one of the things that I have. That's my long thing.
Okay, what's your short thing?
The short thing is, did you see Omegon's video or this morning about Highbury College?
I saw that it was there, but I didn't
Okay,
have
here's
time to
here's
listen
here's
to it.
here's the tilde. Is that Highbury is involved in a legal action with some other group,
Okay.
and one news outlet has been reporting on this, just saying here's what the progress of the trial is, and it's not going in Highbury's favor because it's looking like Highbury, acted wrongly against this other person. They're going to win in court. Highbury doesn't like the fact that this independent news outlet, which is called FE something or other. Anyway, doesn't matter what it's called. And so they have on the school's routers banned that site.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, they have banned that site because, and I'm going to read you the thing. A spokesperson for Highbury defended the decision, saying it is college policy to block access to inappropriate websites. She told FE Week is the name of it. And so if you want to go to FE space and then the word week, you can read all about what Highbury is doing. And in doing this, Highbury has exposed itself, has made something that could have remained a tiny local disturbance.
Yeah.
In this, and Omegon has just pounced on this and said,
"This is an inappropriate website." What the?
So anyway,
Says who?
when you start suppressing speech, people get curious, and it's not a winning strategy. I think people like Ocasio-Cortez are going to find that out. Unfortunately, I also had this is just one other thing. I saw your tweet about Tonka. Add you to the list. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that, but I thought it might be interesting to get your insight on
I
that.
do want to talk about that.
Okay, well, let's go with that, and then we'll go into the Covington thing.
So, I
It should sound better now.
thanks. Be safe.
Yeah, I gotta go to Mississauga and Concord.
Oh fuck.
Have a good day, Pink Hollow.
Mississauga and Concord on the roads like this. Fuck's sakes.
The guardian angel with him.
I hate when he has to drive far like that in conditions like this.
You should charge more.
If he could, he would.
I know. So what was the deal with Tonka?
Okay, so there's come out a whole bunch of
give us some background about it.
Some background was, I'm sure everyone knows he was supposed to fight Andy Worski. That was supposed to go down on Saturday. He didn't even show up to Tennessee.
And Andy did not, right?
Andy did.
Andy did. Tonka did not.
Yes.
Okay. Did Andy show up to the right city?
At first he did not, but Ralph went and got him.
Nashville, Knoxville.
He didn't know that Knoxville started with a K. So he ended up in Nashville first.
Sorry.
So then Ralph went and drove and got him. So
dumb shit. I'm sorry.
Oh, everyone had a laugh. Even Andy had a laugh.
Tell me.
Andy had a laugh at himself. It was so he got to the ring.
Yeah.
He said his piece. He still wants to, he actually, and Pincalo described how he looked, he actually looks good. He
looks like he's in fighting shape.
Yeah. You can tell that he's been working out. You can tell that he's been training. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you listened to you probably didn't, because I know you don't really care about it.
Not my deal.
He didn't stutter once.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Not a once.
Yeah, and I do know about that, but
Not a once did he stutter in front of like a gymnasium full of people. And it was full. Like it could seat 3,000 people and it was pretty full.
they
I
put
don't think it was
3,000 butts in
capacity.
seat. Wow. But I mean, just even, I figured like 40 people would show up.
Oh no, there were a few hundred, I think.
That's interesting. Okay, continue.
So
Then what happened?
So it came out that Tonka, he signed the contract under one name, sent in his blood work under another name, and then changed his name.
What?
Who is calling me?
Because like you do, right? You change your
Hold
name.
on.
Change your name, like.
Hey, what's going on? Oh my god. Okay.
You okay?
Can you please talk to chat? Pincalo locked himself out of the house.
Okay, not a problem. I guess the first thing that I would ask about this is why change your name? Okay, what was the deal behind changing your name? I don't know if anybody has anything. I'm going to read a little bit of chat here. Let's see. It was funny that Andy came in on a wheelchair and wearing an Indian chief hat. It was, and then Andy strategically paused in his speech. That's why That's why no stutters, and he did a good job. Evidently, Hawk so feels, and Pincalo has locked himself out of the house, and Gunfox piles on saying "epic failure." Nice. I assume you're talking about Pincalo. Pincalo just wants some attention. Really?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, so Pincalo had his attention moment. He locks himself out of the house to get a little bit of attention. Okay. So tell us. So Andy speaks instead of fights. He comes in a wheelchair, dressed as an Indian chief, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Showbiz. And he speaks without stuttering.
Yeah.
Everybody, stuttering. And then what happens then?
He then says, I still want to fight. This is like actually training and working out and learning martial arts, like starting to learn mixed martial arts. And like I have gained a lot of respect for what you guys do. And I would like to still have a fight. So he challenged Baked Alaska to a fight.
MMA style?
I believe so, yes. So he challenged Baked Alaska to a fight in the summer. But so
yeah, Hawk, I do understand that he did not that Tonka did not show up, and that's the part I wanted to get to was why
Tonka did not show up. He and everyone in his camp was like, shut up with the rumors. He's gonna be there. He's blah blah blah. He never showed up. He started. First of all, he deleted his apology video.
Who did?
Tonka.
What apology? Can you help me out? What apology?
So he did a show. He did an hour show on, I want to say last Wednesday, called "This Is Not a Show, This Is an Apology." So instead of doing a kumite, he did an hour long. Most of it was dead air. And the rest of it was him saying, I'm sorry, I fucked up on the paperwork, meaning with the 50 billion different names he's been using. So it was, I'm sorry, I fucked up on the paperwork. This is miserable. So if you've seen any memes going around saying this is miserable, miserable.
It's directed at Tonka.
That's where that's coming from, because
I have a legit question though. Seriously. Why is it customary to change your name before you fight in MMA? I don't know. I'm new to this. Help me.
So he said that he's been an He said he was an actual, like, not a fully professional MMA fighter, but that he had done amateur fights. He then admitted on Nick Rakita's show that it was he then changed his story to, oh, it's technically not any, like, there's no technical record because it was illegal underground shit, which is code for
I didn't do it.
didn't do it.
Yeah.
So he's based himself on 2 years of, I'm a professional fighter, I know what I'm talking about.
And now it turns out not so much. Do we know Tonka's name?
No. Because nobody knows, because everyone's like, well, I knew him as this name. Oh, I knew him as this name.
Oh, I didn't, yeah. I just wonder if there's a way to check him out.
And so there's people in his Discord that are making, I'm not going to name them because that's just, I don't know who they are, but I'm not. But people are making lists of people who are tweeting negative things and saying negative things about Tonka and calling them like turncoats and bandwagoners. And
Oh, that's okay. So that's what the bandwagon is anybody who is not a suck up to Tonka.
yeah.
Okay.
So when I tweeted out my little thread at the end, I'm like, fine,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah. Add me to your fucking list. I don't fucking care.
Gotcha.
I was just as much a fan of Tonka and the Kumite as most of you, but I'm looking at the evidence and I see what's going on, and fuck that.
Okay. Isn't that special?
Yeah.
You know, stuff just, after a while, it just makes me tired.
Hawk Silk, I'm going to be put on a list about time. Oh, Addie. Why you got a name drop in my fucking...
Jacob Navo is a list maker. And Hawk Silk says, actually, we do know Tonka's name.
They were never going to use his real name. They were going to use his alias.
Is that his real name, what Addie put in there? I've actually, I have heard
Michael Robert Pilkington. Is that his real name, or is that just...
I have heard that that's his actual name. Yes.
LOL.
On that road.
What are you laughing at, Addie? Are you laughing at me? Or are you laughing at the name?
Robert Pilkington. Now, if I put this into my magic doxing machine. Oh. There is a Michael. There is a Michael. Oh, that's him. That is him. It appears.
Yes, that's his name.
Tonk Song.
I wasn't going to say it, though.
Michael Robbie Pilkington. Michael Roby Pilkington. Robbie Pilkington. Robbie Vio. Robert Pilkington. Robbie Vio. So he's got a bunch of alii. Curious. Yeah. And how old is Tonka?
I have no idea.
I think he's 50.
Magic, I'm going to tell Magog you're stealing his bit. Laughing at life, blind press.
I think he's much older than people think he is. Either that or they're Michael Pilkington, because I'm seeing a senior and a junior. I wonder if his father is 50. Maybe that. I can't tell how old Tonka is, but he acts like he's in his mid-30s at least, and just like a very kind of young, kind of never grew up guy. You know, Peter Pan boy.
Some of the others were wrestling aliases.
Okay.
Adamantine.
And that's perfectly fair. You know, I just want
yes, but you don't sign fucking legally binding contracts with aliases.
Right.
Exactly. Dork.
That's fair. That's fair. There are even videos on YouTube of his wrestling as Robbie Vio. And that's that choreographed wrestling. That's not like MMA fighting,
like
per
probably
se.
backyard stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen them, but
I wonder if he's ever wrestled with his conscience. Sorry, just had to get that in there. Let's see. The senior is his father, who died in prison. I really don't want to go over why, though. Okay.
oh, Addie does though. Jesus Christ, Addie, are you gonna
Was
get
a
me
sex offender?
fucked up, dude?
All right.
You're my.
You know,
Thank you, Adamantium.
one thing about Eddie is he is an unblinking watcher of the facts.
It's true. It's true. I'm sure all
I've
of this
noticed
is.
that about him time and time again. He looks the facts straight in the eye, and that, you know, I have a lot of respect for that. Actually, interesting.
Is that where the daddy no came from? I have no idea.
Oh my God! Oh, sick.
Well, I won't say it, but Addie don't give no fucks. LOL. Says Hog Silk. Yeah, apparently not.
Yeah. All those fucks he had in the refrigerator went bad, and he threw them out.
BP will be getting added to one of those Discord lists. Yes, apparently I will. Thank you, Adamantium. Love you, Addie.
Blind Press is running the I don't give a fuck server.
Wait, I thought WWE was real, says Richo. No, I know I hope you're joking.
Yeah. It's real. It's just entertainment. That's all. Everything's real, but the fighting, the money's real.
Let me tell you about Santa, says Brad Young.
So
you'll be in fine company, says Adamantine. Yeah, because he's on that list too. I'm pretty sure, anyway.
Yeah. I'm pretty done with most of the YouTube drama. I at first I thought it was interesting and sort of fun, and after a while, you just see people who make complete fools of themselves and a lot of hurt feelings, and I don't see anything good coming out of it.
Yeah.
So there you go. But I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer about it. As long as we have this fine YouTube drama, we might as well enjoy it. Let's see. Blind Press, if you want the deleted apology video, a friend of mine did cut out the dead air, and I can give you a link. Oxo. So you can, if you want to watch the apology video.
Oh, I saw it before it got deleted.
Okay. And it doesn't sound like it was anything more than sort of a rambling.
It really was.
You know, trail of regret. Excuse me. Hiccup. And yeah, Chadwick says, I've been done for a long time. I hear you, bud. Yeah. I'm there with you. Rico says, Blind Press, I'm probably older than most here. No, you're not. And I knew it was fake when I was like 7.
Yeah, I know. I'm just fucking with you, Richo.
When I was 7, Louis XVI was king of France. You know, just saying.
Oh, by the way, Richo, I don't know if you were here when I made the announcement about Discord. You are now able to post. You have rules.
Yay. Any changes for me, or can I still?
No, you are still in the don't fuck with me category.
I still love that. I showed that to Brenda. She just thought that was so funny. Things amuse us.
You hear that, guys? Don't fuck with Skep Talk.
There you go. In other news, I probably will go over 8,000 followers on Twitter today. I can't believe I have that many people. It's just really blown up the last couple of months, too. Some nice people shouting me out.
So what's your take on this whole ridiculousness about Covington? Moving from one ridiculous native to another.
Yeah.
What do you think about this whole? And I'm sure you've probably got more knowledge about the Black Israelites that started
Sure.
this whole bullshit than I do.
I'll preface that with, years ago, I was in New York City. I was living in Manhattan around 34th Street and 9th. And I was working for Merrill Lynch down in the World Trade Center number 7. Yes, the conspiracy building, 42nd floor. And one day I decided that I was going to take the subway up like into Soho and then walk all the way home. Just great exercise. And, it's walking through a historic part of Manhattan, and, it was daytime, so it's not a problem. And plus I had a couple of guys, we all worked together and we lived up at Southgate. So we did that and walked up there, and we go past and we see this bunch of guys, these black guys are yelling on the corner. And they're yelling this insane stuff about how white people are the devil and how they are the actual lost tribe of Israel, and all this racial epithets like you cannot believe. I mean, just would curl your hair about what devils they are and how, they're the only chosen people on earth and we're going to be their slaves and so forth and so on.
Okay, then.
Yeah, you can see they're well-grounded,
perfectly sane individuals.
Realists, really. And so we sat there and listened to them, and let them abuse us, and we laughed at them, and we went on. We work for Merrill Lynch. You don't. Fuck off. And so that was basically where we were on that, and it's still kind of where I am on that. So, but I know these guys a little bit, and they inhabit like 2 or 3, or they used to inhabit 2 or 3 street corners in Manhattan, and they're really big in, I think it's Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure it's Brooklyn, the western part of Brooklyn, and that they have a bunch of places basically like clubs where they congregate and brew their, reinforce each other's poison, and then they go out on the street and basically are preaching how great they are and how screwed we are. So that's what you get to hear, and they don't like Jews one bit, by the way. Those are the fake Israelites. Those are the fake chosen people.
Okay, then.
Yeah, and so these guys are noxious. They're hateful. They're not usually violent. That's an interesting characteristic of them. There's some kind of part of their credo where they don't get into physical altercation.
So they just scream at you.
Yeah, they just basically scream at you. So that gives you some background, or at least from my point of view, of what these guys were being confronted with. So you got a bunch of 16-year-old, 17-year-old high school kids, testosterone coursing through their young man's veins, right?
Yeah.
You have the Black Hebrew Israelites, okay, who are exciting the situation. And you have this stolen valor, and I'll explain that in a minute, guy who was a reservist Marine, was a refrigerator repairman in the Marines. Nothing wrong with that. Refrigerators have to be repaired, but he never in Vietnam, as he claimed. He was, and then, he was never a recon ranger. Okay, there's no such thing in the Marine Corps. There is something called force reconnaissance and battalion reconnaissance in the Marine Corps, but there's no such thing as a recon ranger. And he comes up beating his drum, and this kid is wearing a MAGA hat, testosterone coursing through his vein, and he decides to not get out of the way. I'm not going to get out of the way, see what this guy does. And so he grins at him. And so this guy Green, who is not an exceptionally well-balanced person, but he's a native tribal elder, and he's used to getting his way. He's been poisoned by all this, SJW nonsense. He thinks he's high on the oppression stack and that his shit doesn't stink. He demands this kid get out of his way. The kid just stood there and grinned at him.
Yep.
So what has happened is to me, revealed the full flower of the rot of the social justice movement. You have people talking about his punchable face. I tweeted out a thing about, I took I took just a stock photograph of a white guy just smiling with a very pleasant look on his face.
Mm-hmm.
I said, look at that look of unearned self-confidence. The smugness. That's a punchable face. We can do better. If we don't make our faces so punchable, maybe we won't get punched. And it's interesting how many people thought, yeah, right on, man.
I have
Really?
seen some horrible things.
Yeah.
In the past week.
Yeah.
And I've seen some psychotic shit on Twitter.
We all have.
But when I see people saying that school should be locked, those kids should be locked in the school and the school should be burned down. When I see, and I'm glad Twitter actually took this tweet down, but when I see somebody saying somebody needs to go and shoot up the school to give them a taste of their own medicine, what the but when it's kids
advocating murdering,
when it's kids who have the same political belief system as they do, oh well, they're just kids and you need to leave them alone.
See, yeah,
but fuck these kids because they're white MAGA herring assholes.
Well, see, here's where I come down on this is I have criticism for everybody. That kid could have defused the situation by just being polite and saying, this guy's an asshole. The stolen valor guy is just an asshole and I'm going to walk away from this. That's what he should have done. But he's too immature to do that. So he's an immature little shit. There are a lot of 16-year-old young men who are. It doesn't mean they deserve to be punched. It doesn't mean they deserve to be shot. It doesn't mean that they deserve to be enslaved or destroyed or burned to death or go into a wood chipper as one fine guy.
Morrissey told me about that.
Morrissey tweets out, put him in the wood chipper, MAGA hat first, fuck you. Fuck you with malice, get the hell out. And I saved his tweet for him because he accidentally deleted it, but I take it back to him to remind him, and I know he appreciates it. And so anyway, so that's my criticism for the kids. The stolen valor guy should have just walked around the guy. If he was anything but a, purity basking, tribal elder of the Omaha people, oh, fuck right off. You're a stolen valor loser who has never really held an honest job in your life, and you've made your money off being a purity guy and handouts from the government. So fuck off. I have no patience for that guy. And the black Hebrew Israelites, they can fuck off too, because they are a noxious hate group. They are as noxious as any Nazi group, and they're just as hateful. The only thing about them is that they don't seem to be violent. At least they have not come out as violent. Maybe they'll amend their charter and do something about that. But that's the only positive thing I can say about them. So I'm going to say nobody acted great, but the kids are. I ascribe the least blame to, and they are the ones whom the media jumped on and put all of the blame on, saying that the stolen valor guy was completely blameless, and he was a saint, really, and he fought bravely and won the Congressional Medal of Honor in World War II and World War I and the Civil War. So there, because they just make up shit. And that the black Hebrew Israelites, they weren't doing anything. They were just black men who were minding their own business.
It's
didn't do nothing.
Well, and apparently this guy is also part of AIM.
Say that again. Part of
American Indian movement.
Really?
Yeah, he might be. I think he might be a part of the American Indian movement.
It just says that's a Native American advocacy group in the United States, founded in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, it's
Oh, this is the Russell Means thing. I remember this. Yes. Okay. So
the 1970s Wounded Knee
yeah, this is
crap.
the second Wounded Knee deal, and they actually were kind of militants.
So I just got sent a story that says Twitter suspended a suspicious account on Monday, reportedly responsible for framing the initial media narrative around the Covington situation.
You cut out for me something of relief of the Covington situation. Say that again, please.
So the Twitter suspended a account suspicious that's reportedly suspicious suspected of framing the initial media narrative around the Covington account or
Really?
yeah.
And where'd you get that story?
It's in the News for the Coffee Stream channel on Discord. It's the very last. It's the very newest story.
Punch that up real quick. That's the. So this is Twitter suspends suspicious account that helped start the Covington controversy. Twitter suspends bad actors, blah, blah, blah. Daily Caller says Twitter suspends a suspicious account Monday, reportedly responsible for framing the initial media narrative around the Covington Catholic High School students' confrontation with Nathan, quote, stolen valor, quote, Phillips. The social media platform suspended the account with the username 2020fight for suspicious activity after CNN Business alerted Twitter that while the account bio said it belonged to a California school teacher named Talia, what an odd name, the profile's picture was that of a blogger from Brazil named Talia, I guess, right?
That's a very common name in South America.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. It seems exotic to me. That's all. I think of Talia Shire from Rocky, that played the love interest. Anyway, analytics revealed that 2020 Fight's post of and caption for a minute-long video of the confrontation between the Covington students and Phillips became the main version of the video shared on social media, shaping a narrative that accused these students of bigotry. The account's bio described the account user as teacher and advocate, fighting for 2020. The account user tweeted an average of 130 times each day to more than 40,000 followers. Now, I'm an active tweeter, and I probably spend 10 or 11 hours a day on Twitter. My tweet average is something around 80.
Yeah.
130 times? Oh my God.
If she's a teacher and advocate, when is she teaching and advocating?
Well, you physically almost can't do that unless you're just retweeting, unless you're just practically a retweeting bot. This sounds like a bot to me. The account reportedly violated Twitter's rules, which forbid fake and misleading accounts. Deliberate, really? How come CNN hasn't been suspended? Sorry. Deliberate attempts to manipulate the public conversation on Twitter by using misleading account information is a violation of the Twitter rules, a Twitter spokesperson told CNN Business.
But threatening violence to children is not? Okay.
As long as the students are white, it says. As long as the students are white, they may not only be threatened with violence, but they may be murdered without any violation of Twitter's terms of service. In fact, Twitter advocates the murder of all white people. Just kidding. Just want to see if chat's paying attention. Rob McDonough, assistant editor of an online content vetting service called Storyful. That's interesting. Storyful. Storyful. I'm going to take a note of that.
Is that even a word?
Well, it's no. I mean, it's just something they created to. That's their content vetting service name. So they gave it a name so that You might remember that. Several suspicious characteristics about 2020 fight, including its high follower count, highly polarized and yet inconsistent political messaging, the unusually high rate of tweets, and the use of someone else's image in the profile in the profile photo. That's hard to say. More suspicious still was the fact that, according to information warfare researcher Molly McHugh, a network of anonymous accounts was amplifying 2020 Fight's post of the video across social media. The account's video did not show what preceded the encounter between between Stolen Valor Phillips and the students, and therefore did not reveal that a black supremacist group called the Black Hebrew Israelites initially accosted the students with profanity and racial slurs before Phillips and his colleagues also approached and confronted the high school students who tried to drown out the other two groups' insults with school cheers.
Yeah.
That's actually what happened right there. That paragraph right there is almost a perfect summation of what really happened. 2 sentences.
And I heard some of the video, and
Sure.
all I could hear from them was school chants.
And that's,
like, I didn't hear any vulgarity coming from them.
and there's no signs. They're not throwing the finger or anything like that. They're just jumping up and down.
Yeah. That guy, that Phillips dude, is pounding his drum and he's singing.
Yes, he is.
Right in his face.
Oh yeah, he's 2 inches away from it. Had to hurt his ears.
I've been to powwows. I know how loud they sing.
Oh yeah.
Like they don't sing softly. Like those are powerful from the diaphragm.
They mean
things that they are singing. Like that is loud.
Yes, it is. So
that is assault, pretty much. Like that is assault.
Listen to this. Nevertheless, Twitter users retweeted 2020 Fight's truncated video and its caption at least 14,400 times and viewed the video at least 2.5 million times. So influential was 2020 Fight's post that members of the media reached out directly to the owner of the profile in the course of reporting on the incident. McDonough said that 2020 Fight's post was the primary version of events shared on social media.
Wow.
Think about that. Yeah, think about that. The post was so successful in helping shape the narrative that scores of journalists, public officials, priests, bishops, nuns, dioceses, and even the students' own school publicly denounced the children without reaching out to them for their version of events or waiting for further information about the incident. This is the new landscape where bad actors monitor us and appropriate content that fits their needs. They know how to get what they need to go. So it amplifies naturally. And at this point, we are conditioned to react and engage or deny in specific ways. And we all did. That's not unfair. That is not unfair.
It's also fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I agree.
They could have, like, these kids could have lost their school, like their education. They could have been expelled.
Yep.
They almost were. One of them almost was.
Yeah. That's just so wrong. Heartbreaking.
Nothing like creative editing, says Faithless. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. One of the other headlines is apologies roll in for Catholic school protesters as fuller pictures of events emerge. Man,
Well, what gets me is Philip DeFranco.
Oh, you go first.
What gets me about Philip DeFranco is that he jumped on the hate bandwagon, and then his apology was so shit. Like, I apologize to my audience and my fans, but he's not going to apologize to the kids. Meanwhile, he was so gung-ho about, oh, I got to report, Daddy of 5 And he should have reported on Daddy 05. I'm not saying he shouldn't have, right?
Right.
But he's, oh, for the children, look at these children. They're being abused, and they were being abused.
Yeah,
But if he
certainly.
cared so much about children, why in the fuck was he so quick to jump on them and hate them? And it's not like you think that Fight 2020 has a big reach. He's got fucking 1 million Twitter followers, not to mention
1,000,002 subs
a
on YouTube.
million and two, yeah, 1,000,002 subs on YouTube.
Yeah.
So when he gets a hold of that video, that truncated video, which he did, and retweets it, and then he makes his own video talking about how it's hateful and blah
Yep.
blah blah, and tweets that to his 1 million followers on Twitter.
Yep.
And then he puts up this piece of crap apology about how he's sorry to his audience and his fans. He didn't hurt them. He didn't
Right.
hate on them. He hated on fucking children. He has a child.
Yeah. I wonder how he would feel if some big wheel in Twitter brought down a bunch of hate on his children or his wife. I wonder if that would get his attention.
Yeah, how would he feel if somebody huge on Twitter started saying, even in response to this, which I'm not saying they should, by the way, but how would he feel if some asshole on Twitter said, oh, I think his wife and kids should be locked in their house and the house should be burned down?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
no. You don't need to say that about anybody.
That's right.
Like, fuck off.
That's evil. That is evil. Scott Adams apologized for believing CNN about Covington Catholic boys fake news, and did a pretty good job of it. If you want a model for an apology, Scott Adams got you covered.
And I'm
And
so
it was sincere, and it was anyway. Go ahead.
I don't understand why people who are apologizing are deleting the tweets where they were like, don't delete it. Just own it.
Yes.
Stop
said.
erasing your history.
Damn right.
And then because then people are going to be like, why is there an apology tweet? What are you apologizing for? Do you know what I mean? People who are following you after this thing are going to be like, what's this apology for? What, you only want to look good for apologizing, but you don't want to be seen to be what you're apologizing for because that might make you look bad. Fuck off. Everybody makes mistakes. You look better if you apologize and you keep the record of what you're apologizing for.
And doxing these kids and their families, saying that the brothers and sisters of these boys should be hurt publicly.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
To atone to the Native Americans and to the brave Force Reconnaissance Marine refrigerator repairmen.
And I'm sorry, any true Native American with Native American beliefs is going to say that's not how that works.
The problem, one of the problems to me is that there is a trope of the left is to believe anything a Native American person says without checking and without question.
Mm-hmm.
And even when it's proved to be absolutely false, to be uncritical of it.
Oh, see you later, Chadwick.
See you, Chadwick. Who has called out this guy for his stolen valor? Nobody on the left. Not one person. Have not heard one person on the left.
No.
I mean, this guy has lied and lied and lied. And, he was He's a liar. He spent 4 years in the Marine Corps and exited a private.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. Okay. There are some, the hard chargers coming out of the first training, the basic training that you get to become a Marine, are private first class. Okay. And those become corporals and those become sergeants. And that happens in the course of, you'll make corporal in about a year if you're from PFC. So, in 2 years, he should have made it at least corporal. He should have at least been a corporal. That would be minimal satisfactory promotion to get out. But most likely after 4 years, he would be a sergeant.
Yeah.
So that tells me that this guy is not a stellar performer as a Marine. They also, honestly, they don't put the very, very, very top-notch Marines, the best fighters and so forth, in charge of repairing refrigerators. They don't do that. So anyway.
Congratulations. You've been stellar in boot camp and your training, and you're stellar aboard ship, and you're stellar, when you go to, because you're Marine, when you go to land,
right.
you're stellar. Guess what?
Yep.
Go repair that fridge.
Yeah, exactly. You're a small appliance repairman. Be proud. Wear that uniform with pride. Which is not to say that there, staff positions are necessary. I was in addition.
In
addition to being trained as a fully qualified ship driver, I had 6 months of additional training to make me a supply corps officer. So I could stay in the bridge watches and do that part. But in terms of what I did aboard ship, I was trained to run the supply department, everything from paying the crew to feeding the crew to getting the supplies aboard that uniforms and stuff like that, and laundry, barbershop, you name it. There's a lot of stuff in supply that has to get done.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but you wouldn't then go.
It requires so much time. It requires so much time. You're not required to stay in bridge watches.
But then you would not go and say, I also went.
I was a SEAL.
I was a SEAL, and
right.
I was actually the one that took bin Laden down.
Right. Exactly.
In my off duty, my off time of making sure that the crew had their boots and their, their clothes and their food and their money.
Had enough oil to transfer to the, line of destroyers that was coming up right away replenishment.
Made sure that we could refuel and help other ships and everything. I then also shot bin Laden in the head.
Right.
Like, fuck off.
No, if there are people who make claims like that, and I actually, when I was at OCS, my roommate was a SEAL. He was an enlisted SEAL who had been to college before he enlisted, went through SEAL training, and then was being sent through OCS to become an officer so he could go back and lead SEAL team. He was going to be a platoon officer of SEAL Team 2, which he did. And I learned a lot he also taught me how to shoot a gun. The second time I ever shot a handgun with Danny's guidance, I shot sharpshooter. I almost qualified as expert. It was the second time I'd ever held a handgun in my hand.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much technique can make you a better shot. And I did exactly what he said. And I mean, anyway, he's an awesome guy, and my respect for the SEALs and the UDTs, the EODs, all those dangerous parts, the really pointy parts of the Navy, is unbounded. If I ever saw somebody with a Budweiser on their, that's the badge that they wear, the trident and whatnot. Even though I was an officer, I would salute them first and wait till they dropped their salute. And they knew that, they accept that they are superior, and they are. I mean, they simply work harder and put up with more shit and are amazing at what they do, and they get killed a lot. So Mazel tov. I love those guys. Nobody has more respect for them than I do. I was a humble supply corps officer, and I was proud to serve my country that way. And that's what I did. I did what I do best.
Mm.
They do what they do best. But I was proud to have known them. Anyway, I don't know why I went off that rant, but I hate stolen valor for that reason, because it demeans those good people. And this guy saying he was a recon ranger, fuck right off, refrigerator repairman, fuck off.
Yeah.
So, all right, invented my spleen. How are we doing on time? What are we doing? It's
11:05 my time.
Have we really run an hour and a half?
Just an hour.
Just an hour. Okay.
I'm gonna go till 11:20.
Oh! I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at this. It's 7 after 10. Okay.
So,
It was 10:27.
it's your guys' time now. Whatever you guys want to say. Have at it, peoples.
My buddy was a corporal for 2 years because after his first deployment to Afghanistan, he was assigned to ship security. He hated it. Okay. It sounds like he was a Marine, and that's one of those jobs where it's either boring, which is what you want, but after a while that drives you crazy.
Yeah.
And if it's not boring, it's disastrous. So
Which also drives you crazy.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
In a different way.
Thoughts from the dryer says my dad was a Marine sergeant in Vietnam, but he was in supply. I have never considered him a Vietnam vet because he wasn't in action. He was a Korean War vet. Dryer, I would be curious. It's because he was in supply in a supply depot. That was where they would aim rocket fire to hit the supply depots, particularly the ammunition dumps. And a lot of guys died from indirect fire that way. So he went, I'd give him a pass on that. I would say he certainly was a Vietnam vet. He was in Vietnam in harm's way in action, and just because he wasn't crawling through the elephant grass and peering over and taking shots at people doesn't mean he wasn't a veteran. But that's just my take on it. Your mileage may vary.
Just like you can still have, you can still get PTSD in the military and not have to be deployed.
Certainly, PTSD is. Let me tell you, the military is not like having a job at McDonald's. You don't go home and leave it at work. When you're out at sea, you are permitted to go and sleep for a few hours. That's basically what your life is like. You go and sleep for 3 or 4 hours, and then you get up and, it's another 20-hour day. And there are no days off. That's another thing you have to get used to. There are no days off. You don't get a day off. You don't get vacation. You don't get a weekend. Okay. 24/7, 365. If you're not okay with that,
you shouldn't have signed up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because now you're stuck.
and the thing is, when you come off like a fleet deployment, when I was, I was stationed on the USS Kansas City, my initial tour out of Supply Corps School, and it was in Third Fleet. It was a ocean-going vessel, and after I was rotated off that, after that sea tour, you're rewarded with a shore tour, and you get shore duty, and then you do get weekends, and except that one weekend a month you spend 24 hours on base because you have to stay on duty. So you at least get 3 weekends out of the 4, usually, unless there's some emergency, in which case you simply work until the job is done. It's not like a regular job. Trust me, not even the relaxed shore duty version is not like a regular job. So the people who, I'm not saying this to pump myself up. I mean, I did my 5 years and got out. But the people who make a career out of that and, keep us safe from people who want to hurt us, I would just direct you back to the Winston Churchill line about we enjoy our freedoms because rough men are, preserve them. they will do violence upon those who would take them from us, and that's the truth. You know, it's
So
we owe
Gunfox
them
says
a lot.
I was so busy between medical school and hauling shit around.
This is Gunfox. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm looking so damn busy between
Then I got
medical schooling
deployed.
and hauling shit around. Okay.
Then I got deployed. I was wounded by indirect fire. Says I'm looking for all his stuff.
Who was wounded by IDF?
And Gunfox.
Gunfox. You have a Purple Heart from IDF. That's interesting. Between medical schooling, hauling shit around. And one engagement also. Just wondered.
Ours has been closed.
Thank you, Arva. So we have a fellow. He knows what a chop is. I'm going to just take a moment to commune with my buddy Arva. Arva evidently was a storekeeper in the Navy, and that's a rate. Those are the guys who run GSK, which is the general supply part of a ship that issues all the spare parts, basically. And he called me a chop. The reason he called me that is if you look at my commissioning picture, you'll see on my shoulder boards something that looks like a pork chop. It's actually an oak leaf cluster, but everybody calls it a pork chop. And that's what they call supply corps officers, are pork chops.
Pork chop.
In fact, yeah, when you come on, I was on a three supply corps officer ship. And so they called the department head the top chop. And then the middle guy was the pork chop, and then I was the lamb chop. And then I fleeted up into the pork chop, and I had a new lamb chop aboard as the junior officer after I'd been on board for 9 months.
So Gunfox says I was wounded October 7th, 2004 in Iraq. Oh,
bless your heart. What was? We'd like to hear about how that happened, and you know what you did, and I'd like the story about that. Is there some place where we can get that, or are you?
I should have Gunny on another. I should have Gunny as a guest on one of these.
Like on your Friday stream.
On a Fridays. Actually, this Friday, guys, I got some news for you guys.
Yeah.
I got a Satsu.
Yay. Good go, girl.
So it'll be me and Satsu this Friday.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Don't miss it. Be there or be square. I'm hoping I will not be on the road. I'm supposed to go down this weekend to see my dad.
That's right. How's he doing?
He keeps doing better and better. So
good.
And he has he has 2 girlfriends helping him. So it's actually a little bit tense, he says. Anyway, yeah, Peyton Place.
Well, it happens.
91-year-old version of Peyton Place.
When you have 2 women, it kind of does get tense.
A little feline down there, and but yeah, he's doing better and better. He's been out of the hospital and in the assisted living situation. So he's got 24-hour nursing care and all that stuff. And after a couple of weeks of that, they're talking about letting him go back to his apartment.
Wow.
Yeah. So
he's doing that well.
He's doing that well. It's only, as he said, it's just a broken back. You know, it's not like the whole thing is, you know, a whole vertebrae is cracked and the spinal column is threaded. It's not that kind of broken back. It's one of those little wings off of one of the vertebrae. Kind of has these flange things that come off, and just the tip of that is broken off. So it's mostly painful, really, in point of fact, and because it impinges on a lot of nerves. But anyway, didn't mean to get off into that. I hope that I will be able to join you to listen to you and Satsu. I think I can't imagine. That's just a great pairing. I'm interested to hear the chemistry between you and Satsu.
Pincalo says SKs are great. My last 3 pairs of boots were found in the back of a storeroom.
Were found, yes. SKs are good at finding things. Gunfox says I was helping out a National Guard unit, and we stopped for lunch, and the goat fuckers fired about a dozen or so mortars. That's not motors; he means mortars. And yeah, a guy and myself ran to see what we thought was the closest bunker. It was a reflap section, and I ended up on the short end of the bunker. So it sounds like he was being fired on with mortar fire, and he was not covered well enough. Ran for cover and wasn't covered sufficiently. So I'm guessing shrapnel, blasted shrapnel, and very good. Arva was an SK during Desert Storm, so you got the Desert Storm medal.
So we have an Operation Iraqi Freedom and an Operation Desert Storm in our chat.
Very good.
Very cool.
Very good. And I was in just in time to get the Vietnam NDR. That's how old I am. They stopped giving it 2 months after I joined the Navy.
Oh.
You talk about somebody who did not earn his Vietnam NDR. I did not earn that.
Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Freebie. Right place, right time. That's exactly right.
Well, I got a little annoyed with speaking of gimmies. I got a little annoyed with my mom because Alex went to his first Kung Fu tournament at the end of November.
Yeah.
Came back with 2 trophies, but one of them he earned. But the other one he got for listening.
Oh, they have a listening competition?
No, only he got one for listening and being good. And I'm like, no. But now I can't take it away from him. Like, what the?
Just have to let him, understand what that is, and that grown-ups don't have all the answers, and sometimes are pretty silly.
I don't want to give him trophies for listening. He's supposed to do that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Here's a trophy for not hitting someone. That's pretty much the way it is, actually. So, there's Maniac Man.
Hi, Maniac
And
Man.
Lindsay's here. Cynical Lindsay.
Satsu on Friday. I can't wait, says Zerfia. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Cool people. TC's here. Howdy. And yeah, I agree.
Oh, my late grandfather-in-law was a bomber in World War II, says Lindsay. That's interesting.
That's wonderful. That was a high-risk occupation in World War II. The bomber crews. That's what John Kennedy's brother, Joe Kennedy, was on a bomber crew out of some place near London, and he was on a mission, on a crazy mission actually, that involved crashing his bomber with the bomb load into the area, and then parachuting away from it, and then getting away. That's how he got killed. But yeah, the bomber crews were amazingly brave, amazingly risky job. Ugh.
So Gunfox's right knee. My
he says my vest took the full hit and was thrown in a black bag along with all my military gear, and I got new stuff. So Gunfox, right knee, right hip, right leg, ribs, left shoulder, heavy TBI.
Heavy vest saved my life, he said, I think.
Yeah, heavy TBI, my vest saved my life, right. Good on you, bud. Thank you. Thank you for all the pain you went through.
Traumatic brain injury. I don't doubt that.
Yeah. Yeah. That would it just would scare the shit out of you. Kind of makes John Kerry's minor cut on the side of his wrist that he got one of his Purple Hearts for.
Mm.
That the medic wouldn't even bother to put a Band-Aid on. Just wash it and leave it open. Oh man, that was a Purple Heart for John Kerry. You get a TBI, same medal. It's good to be a Kerry, I guess.
Richo says, anyone else been in the army here?
Scotsman says, my great-grandfather was put in a POW camp in Burma by the Japs. Wow. Did he survive? Scotsman, be curious to know.
That's an interesting story too. Look at all these interesting stories.
And I assume by Japs you mean Japanese, not Jewish American princesses. Which would be far, far worse than the Japanese, who only tortured you. And
Sorry,
Michelle,
my best friend is texting me, asking me if I'm busy. I told her give me 10 minutes.
Michelle Pronk says, no, sorry, blind since birth, never was even asked for a test. I don't know what Michelle is responding to. But let's see, I want to go back up to something that Lindsay said. Since the Air Force and I believe the Army were combined at that time, that was true in World War II. The Air Force came into being in 1947, I think September 1947. My in-laws got to choose between a flyover and a gun salute for his funeral. They chose the flyover. It was a powerful moment. It's amazing and wonderful, Lindsay. It's and they're very moving. They're very moving.
My grandfather was a tank commander in World War II. That's pretty cool, good fucks.
And they made it all the way through World War II. That's yeah, because the American tanks did not have enough armor. They were really mobile, but the only way they could take a Panzer, a German tank, was to basically move behind it and shoot it from behind, because they could get a shot on the gas tank basically and blow it up. But that was the only way. And if they did that, they had one shot, because then the Panzer would just turn the gun around and hose them. They would just be done, DONE done. And the stories of the tank crews are just hair raising. It just, man, hats off to your grandfather, Gun Fox, and to you, quite frankly.
No wonder where you know. Now I know where you got that freaking tough as nails thing from.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And Gun Fox says he said his guys, and he was lucky, and they said a prayer before the start of every day. I would too.
Yeah, you know what? Something tells me if I was serving in something like a war like that,
yeah,
I probably would be a little, like, at least a little religious, because humans. This is kind of a weird philosophical bent to get off on 5 minutes before the end of the show, but humans sometimes need that like, not like that they don't feel that they
support.
Yeah, they need the support, and it's not like they can't do it without God, but it helps. It helps to be like, okay, if watch over me and my crew as I go into this battle. And if I make it out, I'll do I'll do good works when I get home. You know, like I'll something like that.
Yeah.
Like just something simple, you know,
Yeah.
just because humans need that. Like even right back to the Romans, you know, you pray to the god of war before you go to into battle. You know, you that we just need it for some reason. Humans require that type of thing. Yeah, gotta believe in something, says Brad Young.
Yeah. So
Even if it's the lack of, even if you have to believe in not believing. Looking at you, extreme atheists.
oh hey, I just got a text.
Oh,
I am Dr. Bakar Tunde, the cousin of Nigerian astronaut Air Force Major Abaki Tunde. He was the first African in space when he made a secret flight to the Salyut 6 space station in 1979. He was on a later Soviet space flight, Soyuz T-16Z, to the secret Soviet military space station Salyut 8T in 1989.
okay.
Let's see. He was stranded there in 1990 when the Soviet Union was dissolved. His other Soviet crew members returned to Earth on the
Wait.
Soyuz T-16Z. Hang on, but his place was taken up by return cargo. There have been
Wait.
occasional Progress supply flights to keep him going since that time. He is in good humor but wants to come home.
What?
In the 14 years since he has been on the station, he has accumulated flight pay and interest amounting to almost 15 million American dollars. This is held in a trust in the Lagos National Savings and Trust Association. If we can obtain access to this money, we can place a down payment with the Russian space authorities for a Soyuz return flight to bring him back to Earth. I'm told this will cost 3 million American dollars. In order to access his trust fund, we need your assistance. This is being me. They contacted me. I can't believe this. Consequently, my colleagues and I are willing to transfer the total amount to your account for subsequent disbursement, since we as civil servants are prohibited by the Code of Conduct Bureau and civil service laws from opening and or operating foreign accounts in our names. Needless to say, the trust reposed on you at this juncture is enormous. In return, we have agreed to offer you 20% of the transfer sum, while 10% shall be set aside for incidental expenses, internal and external, between the parties in the course of the transaction. You will be mandated to remit the balance, 70%, to other accounts in due course. Holy shit! I'm going to make millions of dollars. This is awesome.
The fuck?
They only need, let's see, what do they need? They need, okay. Oh yeah, $8,000. I can totally do that. I'm going to transfer it to them right now. I can do that on this bank card. Sweet.
They want you to believe.
We'll get him off that space station, that secret space station.
Been on
for 14 years.
Space station for 14 years.
I am totally on board with this. I am there. I'm totally there. I can't believe they contacted me. I guess they knew that I was interested in space. That's why they contacted me.
That is fucking hilarious.
Oh, the sad thing is there will be people who send them the money. So funny. I get a kick out of some of the emails I get.
on that
Absolutely.
note, guys, I'm gonna end this and go grab something to eat.
Yeah.
And go see what my friend has to say, because she never texts me asking if I'm busy, so she might need to talk.
Thanks for coming out, guys. Blind, thanks for having me back on. can I just say something real quick before we go?
Yeah, sure.
I don't want any misunderstandings about why I'm not on every day. I've had a lot of stuff going on, and this is all part of a probably series of experiments that I had suggested to Blind that, you know, we try me every day. We try different things. We're just trying different things to see what will work on the show to, you know, make it more interesting to people and offer the variety that, you know, we'll get a bigger draw in. Blind's my friend. I'm just trying to help her out. There's no bad blood between us. I don't want any dumb rumors to get started.
Absolutely.
We'll probably go through more iterations of change again with more people, or, you know, different stuff to see what will make it more appealing. And I'm sure Blinds will, you know, have ideas about that, and we'll see what happens. So I didn't want anybody to get the wrong idea why I wasn't on every day.
Nope. No, things are great still. We're still awesome. I'm still on to tonight on the Minions at
Absolutely.
11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central.
She
Be
will
there.
be helping pilot the Minion ship tonight.
Yeah. And be sure to come back tomorrow morning. I'll have some more news for you. And remember, Friday, it'll be me and Satsu, so don't miss that one.
You don't want to miss that.
I hope. No, you don't. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I really hope that you guys have a great day. Thank you for coming out and chatting with us. And remember, Wednesdays with Skep is a new thing. So Skep will be back next Wednesday. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe out there, everyone. And Pincalo, if you're still listening, please be careful. There are a lot of idiots on the road. You know that. Love you. Anyway,
Be careful out there, guys.
Yeah, be careful. See you later.
Bye.